Hello, Central Oregon. Eric Pasha here with Home Source of Neighbor Impact. Today, I am here with Nick Zachariason to join me for another edition of our Coronavirus Financial Survival Guide series, helping you stay financially well through the coronavirus pandemic. We are so blessed to have Nick here. Nick had started working in the financial services industry all the way back in 2007 up in the Seattle area, working with both consumers and small business owners to help them with their deposit and credit needs. Now, in 2015, we were lucky enough to have him join us here in Central Oregon with his wife and two lovely daughters, where he is the store manager and assistant vice president of a bank here in town. Now, Nick is a regular volunteer with us, and we thought that having his expertise would be a perfect fit for today's topic, online banking. Nick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, Eric. Thanks so much for the invite. Always nice to support you guys.
Yeah, you bet. So as most are aware, our world has changed drastically over the past few weeks as we interact with businesses more and more online as a result of some of the precautions we're taking with the coronavirus. So today we're going to take the time to discuss how to use online banking services and why they might be helpful for you throughout the pandemic. It is important to note as well that when we're referring to banks, really what we're talking about is referring to banks, credit unions, and other financial institutions. So Nick, let's get started. Tell me, at a high level, what is online banking and why should customers consider using it?
I guess in a nutshell, I would describe online banking as a tool that financial institutions have put in place to allow you to better manage your money and also interact with that bank without having to physically go down, knock on the door, and enter into their lobby.
Right, perfect. I love that. So certainly some changes that have happened over the last few weeks. So big question that a lot of our, I think our folks that we work with are going to be asking is online banking safe? And what kind of steps are banks and credit unions taking to protect their customers online?
Sure. That's a really good question and an extremely valid one. I remember online banking has been around for like 20 plus years. So if you were to think about all the financial institutions, both banks and credit unions, technology and IT security is one of the biggest line items and budget stealers of any financial institution. There's so much technology out there, and we need to be able to manage that data very securely. So yes, it's absolutely safe. I think there's things with online banking that have a lot of protections and safeguards built into that process. When you use online banking, they have things like dual authentication, which helps identify the validity, the identity of the user at the time of logging in based off of information that you provide to the bank. And they've also done a really good job of doing things like incorporating a new technology into the software as well, such as mobile banking, to where it'll utilize things like fingerprints and facial recognition to make sure that the people that are using that device are the people that are supposed to be using it.
Wow. So it sounds like banks have taken, put quite a lot of resources into protecting their customers online.
Oh, they have, absolutely. Things, accessing your accounts to the online platform is just as common as accessing your account via a debit card. And one of the neat things about the safety about online banking is that it is also protected through federal regulation. There's a regulation known in our world known as Reg E, which helps limit the liability of any fraudulent use of electronic transactions, whether that be debit card transactions, automatic withdrawals. It includes things like interactions through the online banking and mobile platforms.
Great. I think some great considerations for your customers there. So if I were to start using online banking, how would I start to enroll and what kind of things would you need to do so? Is there someone that I can reach out to at the bank or my credit union that would help me if I had trouble enrolling in online services?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Based off of your level of comfort with technology, there's a few different ways that you could do it. Number one, if you're comfortable navigating the internet and visiting websites, you could absolutely do it yourself by going to your financial institution's website. Normally, there's a button where it says log in or first-time user to register, and you can just go through that process. Normally, when you're doing that self-enrollment type through their website, some basic information that you would definitely need to get that established would be, of course, your account number, your checking account number. Some institutions would allow you to do that utilizing a debit card. Of course, because it's an electronic form of communication, normally they're going to require you to have an email address established, as well as making sure that you have good contact information, such as a mobile number or a home phone number.
Yeah.
As you go through that, oftentimes banks right now have that online banking enrollment available in this bank as well. So if you're more comfortable doing it shoulder to shoulder with someone and getting a little bit of help navigating those websites, normally your bank is more than welcome to sit down with you to help you through that enrollment in person.
And that brings us to our next question, which is, how have banks over the last few weeks been adapting to the coronavirus? Now, can I still go into a bank if I need to?
Oh, that's a really good question. This pandemic has really changed a lot about our everyday lives. Specifically, what we know today in banking, or what we do in banking today, is very different from what just 30 days ago looked like. Before 30 days ago, you could walk in, you could shake hands, you could hug, you could pat somebody on the back, and you stand within 6 feet. Now there's, it's all about health and the safety of yourself.
Things that makes me cringe today when I think about it.
Exactly. So I think right now, what's different is that banks are really trying to make sure that the connection between them and the customers is still there and still available, because banks are still open. What's happened more recently is that in order to maintain that social distancing aspect, most institutions right now are limiting access to being able to go through the drive-through for your normal transactions, such as deposits, withdrawals, payments, and transfers, things like that. Lobbies most likely are available, but with limits. And normally what they're doing to maintain that social distancing and that kind of 10-person capacity, normally they're letting people in one at a time. They may have someone working the door to kind of help people come in and out. But more often than not, they are requesting those types of interactions to be done by appointment, so that they can really control the safety of you as the customer, as well as the safety of the people that are there inside the bank working with this money and all the different customers in our community.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, what else, or is there anything else that you'd like our viewers to know about using and utilizing online banking services right now?
I think, right now everybody is feeling anxiety and really trying to do their best to adjust to the change in our daily lives. And I think financially, there's more financial angst right now due to the lack of work, lack of income coming in. So I think it's more relevant now more than ever to really make sure that you have a really strong understanding of your finances and how you can best manage them to help support you through this challenge that we're facing. So having something like online banking, having real-time data to help you manage your accounts, to see what's coming in, what's leaving, and really how much you can have to feed your kids, or to keep the lights on, or pay for that internet bill to stream your Netflix. You got to be able to really stay on top of that in the most convenient way possible.
And that relationship with your money that you have has become so important recently, whenever any kind of financial strain comes through.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, Nick, thank you so much for your time today and all that you're doing for us here in Central Oregon. I think you bet. I think it's important to know that you can see Nick regularly as he joins us for our Money on the Mind classes and series that cover topics like this and much, much more to help you stay financially well. Our next series starts in the virtual classroom on Wednesday, April 8th, and you certainly can go to Neighbor Impact's website to learn more. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been another edition of the Coronavirus Financial Survival Guide. I'm Eric Pasha here with Home Source of Neighbor Impact. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourself.